The mind is like an iceberg. It floats with 1/7 of its bulk above water. Dreams are often most profound when they seem the most crazy. The first human who hurled an insult instead of a stone was the founder of civilization. Flowers are restful to look at. They have neither emotions nor conflicts. One day, in retrospect, the years of struggle will strike you as the most beautiful. Just as no one can be forced into belief, so no one can be forced into unbelief. The great question that has never been answered, and which I have not yet been able to answer, despite my 30 years of research into the feminine soul, is what does a woman want? The intention that man should be happy is not in the plan of creation. We are never so defenseless against suffering as when we love. I cannot think of any need in childhood as strong as the need for a father's protection. Being entirely honest with oneself is a good exercise. We are never so defenseless against suffering as when we love. Where does a thought go when it's forgotten? A woman should soften but not weaken a man. Experience teaches us that the world is not a nursery. It is impossible to escape the impression that people commonly use false standards of measurement. Words have a magical power. They can bring either the greatest happiness or deepest despair. When making a decision of minor importance, I have always found it advantageous to consider all the pros and cons. Everywhere I go, I find a poet has been there before me. Religion is a system of wishful illusions together with a disavowal of reality. Life, as we find it, is too hard for us. It brings us too many pains, disappointments, and impossible tasks. He does not believe that does not live according to his belief. Words are capable of arousing the strongest emotions and prompting all men's actions. The ego is not master in its own house. The voice of the intellect is a soft one, but it does not rest until it has gained a hearing. The ego refuses to be distressed by the provocations of reality, to let itself be compelled to suffer. Being entirely honest with oneself is a good exercise. If youth knew, if age could. Love and work are the cornerstones of our humanness. The scope of one's personality is defined by the magnitude of that problem, which is capable of driving a person out of his wits. Before you diagnose yourself with depression or low self-esteem, make sure that you're not surrounded by fools. When inspiration does not come to me, I go halfway to meet it. Love and work, work and love. That's all there is. Unexpressed emotions will never die. They are buried alive and will come forth later in uglier ways. Most people do not really want freedom, because freedom involves responsibility. And most people are frightened of responsibility. One thing about human beings puzzles me the most is their conscious effort to be connected with the object of their affection, even if it kills them slowly within. Whoever loves becomes humble. Those who love have, so to speak, pawned a part of their narcissism. In the small matters, trust the mind. In the large ones, the heart. A certain degree of neurosis is of inestimable value as a drive, especially to a psychologist. Religion is an illusion, and it derives its strength from the fact that it falls in with our instinctual desires. Men are more moral than they think and far more immoral than they can imagine. No, our science is no illusion. But an illusion it would be to suppose that what science cannot give us we can get elsewhere. I have found little that is good about human beings on the whole. Friendship is an art of keeping distance, while love is an art of intimacy. A civilization which leaves so large a number of its participants unsatisfied and drives them into revolt neither has nor deserves the prospect of a lasting existence. We choose not randomly each other. We meet only those who already exist in our subconscious. The interpretation of dreams is the royal road to a knowledge of the unconscious activities of the mind. The goal of all life is death. In the depths of my heart, I can't help being convinced that my dear fellow men, with a few exceptions, are worthless. The ideas so far produced are insufficient for the interpretation of the dream. The dream is a sort of substitution for those emotional and intellectual trains of thought. Dreams tell us many an unpleasant biological truth about ourselves, and only very free minds can thrive on such a diet.